bright suns to you. It's Wild Josh, and in this episode of Star Wars Who's Who, we take a look at possibly the most popular bit character in Star Wars history, who has been immortalized through memes and spoofs all over the interwebs. Now, sit back and relax, because you're about to learn who's who when it comes to Jek Porkins. We're going to start with what we know to be Canon Backstory. Jek Tono Porkins, nickname Piggy. Let's stop right there. This poor heavyset gentleman was born with the last name Porkins and got the nickname Piggy? That's just cruel. High school must have really sucked for him. Now, as I was saying, Porkins was originally a trader on Bestine 4, where he began to see the brutality of the Galactic Empire when they decided to build a base upon his homeworld, which uprooted the lives of many inhabitants in the path of its construction. As the Empire's authoritarian attitude grew, Porkins left his homeworld. Seeking revenge, he trained to become a pilot in the Starfighter Corps in the Alliance to restore the Republic. After a battle near Kashyyyk, Biggs Darklighter suggested to Porkins that they take a vacation on the planet Earth. After 12 days, they became aware that their vacation spot was reserved by an Imperial officer. Awkward. After learning this information, Porkins and Darklighter went into the officer's room and pretended to have blasters. The officer became frightened and told them that she was just a parent of 6. Porkins then apologized, and he and Darklighter both left. After they left the room, the officer called security. Eventually, security caught up with Porkins and Darklighter. They were told to leave the vacation spot, or the manager would be called. In 0 BBY, Jek Porkins flew an X-Wing starfighter as a member of Red Squadron during the Battle of Scarif, going by the call sign Red 6, where he and his squadron were assigned to engage the Star Destroyers and TIE Fighters. The battle ended with the theft of the technical readouts of the Death Star, and Jek Porkins lived to see another day. Just days after returning from Scarif, Porkins dished out drinks to his fellow pilots at Base 1 on the night before the Battle of Yavin. He once again flew with Red Squadron, again as Red 6, alongside Nozo Naitan as a wingman of Zaldines. He bumped into Biggs Darklighter after the mission briefing, exchanging banter with his fellow pilot that Darklighter considered to be a ritual hazing from the cocky Bestine native. Shortly before the Battle of Yavin, Porkins was once again assigned to fly under the call sign of Red 6, which brings us to where we met Jek Porkins during Star Wars A New Hope. During the Battle of Yavin, the order came for the destruction of one of the Death Star's deflection towers, which Porkins and Biggs Darklighter destroyed with their starfighters' laser cannons. Porkins' craft, however, struck debris from the tower and began to malfunction, causing him to drift over the Imperial turbo laser batteries. Porkins was convinced he could still navigate his fighter, ignoring Darklighter's warning to get out of there. Porkins' fighter was caught in turbo laser crossfire, and he was killed, likely instantly. The officers and pilots around the central command table in the Masasi war room heard Porkins' last words, and Eliak Ru vowed that he would be avenged. Despite this, another rebel pilot didn't receive word of his death and asked if Porkins could see Luke Skywalker's fighter a few minutes after Jek was shot down. While losing their friend and pilot, Jek Porkins, was a blow to the Rebel Alliance, they had won the day when Luke Skywalker fired the shot that blew up the Death Star into tiny little bits. Star Wars Factoid. In the Star Wars The Force Awakens visual dictionary, it is mentioned that the Resistance trained their pilots in a maneuver they called the Porkins Belly Run. This maneuver involved the use of the fighter's repulsors, engines, and sensors, as well as a pilot's intuition, and allowed for a Resistance pilot to attack an enemy at high acceleration and a low angle, making it more difficult for enemy installations and starfighters to destroy the incoming starfighter. Now for the Legends backstory. Much of it lines up with the canon backstory, but there are a few additions. For example, in Legends, a youngster Jek Porkins was a champion T-16 Skyhopper pilot on his home world. Also in Legends, he joined the Tirfin Yellow Aces before joining Red Squadron. The Tirfin Yellow Aces were a training squadron where you could take part in less dangerous missions and gain experience. He quickly rose through the ranks to a lieutenant with them and achieved 16 confirmed kills. It was with the Yellow Aces that he received the astromech droid R5-D8, which he would have for the rest of his career. After arriving on Yavin, Porkins was sent on several covert missions by General John Dodonna, the first of which had them capturing X-Wings from a shipyard with Pete Curran and Derek Clivian. The mission was successful, although Pete Curran was killed and Derek Clivian lost his leg while they made a diversion. After that, Porkins, along with Biggs Darklighter, Wedge Antilles, and CC Iris, were signed to acquire some astromech droids to help pilot their fleet. A seller was found, but like typical Star Wars, things got pretty dicey. Pirates got involved, and the group narrowly escaped with their cargo. Sadly, they lost CC Iris on the mission as she sent her badly damaged X-Wing into several attacking fighters, going out with a bang and saving the day. Now for some behind the scenes. Jek Porkins was played by William Hootkins in Star Wars A New Hope. Hootkins was originally considered to stand in for the then more human-looking Jabba the Hutt. However, after reading the script, Hootkins was unsure about the film and decided to take a different job. When his other work finished up, Hootkins learned that Lucas was still seeking actors to play rebel pilots and decided to take one of the parts. With so many of the roles involving heavy makeup, Hootkins initially wondered if the name Porkins meant he might be a pig-like man with makeup applied, and had to check in with Lucas to confirm that his character was actually human. The rebel pilot uniforms had been made to a standardized size, and Hootkins' costume had to be slit down the back in order for him to fit in it, slightly exposing his Mr. Natural t-shirt underneath. Cramped into the small cockpit for his character's explosive death scene, Hootkins initially thought that the actors playing Death Star crew had the better roles, but would later consider himself lucky to have played one of the film's heroic rebels. Sadly, William Hootkins passed away from cancer in October of 2005 at the age of 57. While the character of Jek Porkins and the man William Hootkins may be gone, the legacy lives on forever in a galaxy far, far away. Star Wars Factoid: the Porkins character first appeared in Alan Dean Foster's novelization of the film, in which his call sign was given as Blue 4. The original script of New Hope also used Blue 4 as the designation, though this was later changed to Red 4. Porkins remained as Red 4 until shooting, when he changed once more for the final Red 6, with Brannon becoming Red 4. This is likely an explanation for another pilot calling out Red 6 after Porkins had already been killed. Well, there you go. You now know who's who when it comes to Jek Porkins. Would you like to know who's who about another character in the Star Wars universe? If so, let us know in the comments section down below. Oh, and if you don't want Star Wars fans to call you Piggy, I suggest you hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.